Welcome to the Path to Buddhist Wisdom, a space where we explore profound Buddhist teachings to live a fulfilling, healthy, and meaningful life. In this video, we will delve into a powerful Buddhist mindset that can change the way you view life and help you rediscover love for yourself and the world around you. Don't let worries about the future or regrets about the past control you. Instead, learn to embrace the present moment. Understand the value of impermanence, and find happiness in the simplest things. Let's begin this journey of Buddhist wisdom right now. Part 1. The uniqueness of each moment, embracing impermanence. In Buddhist teachings, the present moment is often referred to as the here and now, the only place where true life unfolds. Imagine, for a moment, standing quietly and observing the world around you. Everything is changing, evolving, and yet it all exists in this singular moment. Just like the delicate and fleeting nature of a lotus blossom, each moment we experience is both unique and impermanent. This idea is central to Buddhist philosophy and reminds us that every moment is precious, never to be repeated. The Buddha's teachings emphasize the impermanence of all things, anicca. Everything, whether it is our thoughts, emotions, or even our experiences, is subject to change. This impermanence is not something to fear, but rather something to embrace. It is what makes life so beautiful. Just as the lotus blooms for a brief time and then fades away, each moment in our lives comes and goes, never to be returned to. We often get caught up in the idea that life must be planned, that we must achieve milestones, and that we must be constantly moving toward a future goal. In doing so, we forget to appreciate the moment we are in. Buddhist wisdom calls us to stop, breathe, and observe. To feel the warmth of the sun on our skin. To listen to the rustle of leaves. To appreciate the simple, ordinary moments of life. Think about the act of eating a meal. How often do we rush through it, consumed by thoughts of the past or the future? But if we were to practice mindfulness, we could turn even the most ordinary act into a moment of connection. When we eat mindfully, we savor each bite, noticing the flavors, textures, and aromas. This simple practice brings us fully into the present, allowing us to truly appreciate life for what it is. This is a core teaching in Buddhism, the importance of mindfulness and presence. By embracing the uniqueness of each moment, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of wanting and striving. We allow ourselves to experience life in its raw, unfiltered beauty. Each moment becomes an opportunity to connect with the world around us and with our own deeper nature. The Buddha taught that life is a series of moments, and it is in these moments that true peace and happiness can be found. When we practice mindfulness, we learn to embrace the impermanence of each experience and appreciate it for what it is, knowing that once it passes, it will never return. So, in the next few moments of your life, take a deep breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Listen to the sounds around you. And remember, this moment is unique. It is a gift, fleeting and irreplaceable. Embrace it fully. Part 2. Letting go of attachments, the path to inner peace. In the previous section, we explored the importance of embracing the present moment and recognizing the impermanence of life. But even with this awareness, there is often a deeper challenge we face: attachment. We cling to people, objects, and even ideas, believing that they define us or provide lasting happiness. This attachment, according to Buddhist teachings, is one of the primary causes of suffering. The Buddha taught that attachment arises from our desires and our tendency to identify with things. We believe that happiness can be found outside of ourselves in possessions, achievements, or the approval of others. However, the more we attach ourselves to these external things, the more we suffer when they change or disappear. This cycle of desire, attachment, and suffering is what the Buddha called dukkha, the unsatisfactory nature of life. Imagine holding onto a branch above a deep river. The branch is your attachment, and the river represents the flow of life. As long as you cling tightly to that branch, you remain stuck, unable to move with the current of life. But the moment you let go, you allow yourself to float freely, moving with the flow of the river. This is the essence of non-attachment, not a rejection of life, but an acceptance of it as it is. Non-attachment does not mean detaching ourselves from love, relationships, or material possessions. It means not allowing these things to define our sense of self-worth or dictate our happiness. It is about finding contentment within ourselves, rather than depending on external circumstances. This is where mindfulness becomes a powerful tool. Through mindful practice, we become aware of our attachments and the suffering they cause. We learn to release the grip we have on things, allowing them to come and go without judgment or resistance. Just as clouds pass through the sky, so too do our emotions and thoughts. We do not need to hold on to them, we can simply observe them and let them pass by. By practicing non-attachment, we discover true inner peace. We stop chasing after things that cannot bring lasting fulfillment, and instead, we focus on cultivating a peaceful mind and heart. We learn to appreciate the beauty of life without clinging to it, to experience love without fear of loss, and to live without constantly striving for more. In Buddhist practice, this letting go is symbolized by the lotus flower once again. The lotus grows in muddy waters, yet it does not become stained by the mud. It rises above it, untouched, and blooms with grace. Similarly, we can rise above the attachment and desires that muddy our minds and hearts. Through mindfulness and meditation, we can cultivate a mind that remains clear, peaceful, and open to the wonders of life. As you continue on your journey, remember that true peace comes not from what we hold on to, but from what we are willing to let go. Release your attachments, and you will find the freedom to truly live. Part 3. Cultivating compassion, the heart of Buddhist practice. Now that we've explored the importance of mindfulness and letting go of attachments, let's move on to a fundamental aspect of Buddhist teachings, compassion. While mindfulness allows us to become aware of our own suffering and the impermanence of life, it is compassion that connects us to others and helps us move beyond our ego. In Buddhism, compassion, or karuna, is not just an emotion, it is an active expression of love and care. It's a deep understanding of the suffering of others and a genuine desire to alleviate that suffering. The Buddha taught that true happiness is not found in the accumulation of wealth or status, but in the act of helping others and cultivating a compassionate heart. This doesn't mean we have to constantly give material things or rescue others from their problems. True compassion begins with understanding. It's about recognizing the shared human experience that we all suffer, that we all have desires and fears, and that we all seek happiness and peace. By acknowledging this common ground, we can approach others with kindness, empathy, and a willingness to support them in their own journey. In the Buddhist tradition, there are several practices designed to cultivate compassion. One of the most well-known is the metta bhavana meditation, or the practice of loving kindness. This practice involves silently repeating phrases like, "May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease," while focusing on sending love and well-wishing to others. Metta meditation begins with sending kindness to ourselves. We often forget to show compassion to ourselves. But it is only through loving ourselves that we can truly extend love to others. Once we have centered ourselves in self-compassion, we gradually extend that love to others, first to those we care about, then to neutral people, and finally to those with whom we may have conflict. The goal is to develop an open heart that radiates kindness to all beings, without distinction. When we practice compassion, we recognize that our well-being is interconnected with the well-being of others. This realization leads us to understand that our actions, no matter how small, can have a profound impact on the world around us. Whether it's offering a smile to someone who is struggling, listening attentively to a friend, or even offering a prayer for the well-being of all beings, each act of kindness ripples out into the world. Through compassion, we transcend the limitations of our individual selves and become part of something greater. We begin to see beyond our own desires and needs, and we start to live for the benefit of all beings. This shift in perspective doesn't just transform our relationships with others, it transforms our own hearts, filling them with peace and joy. As you continue your journey towards spiritual growth, remember that compassion is the heart of the Buddha's teachings. By cultivating compassion for ourselves and others, we move closer to the goal of enlightenment, which is not only a state of inner peace, but a way of being in the world that radiates love and kindness to all. Phn na tp trung vao long ti bai. Mt trong nhng nguyen lai quan trong ka pht jiao. No kong ch la mtcm suk ma la mt hon ngth hintin uthng vas quan tam I vi mi ngi. Thong qua sthc hon ti bai. Chung ta kt ni vine ho vathyc rnghnh fuck thcsnm trong vic jup ngi kok va fat trin tri tim uthng. Bien ko mun chnh sa hok bi sung nam kai tit nao kong. BNA with tilde noi. Tight ho min fan 4. Chat GPT a with tilde noi. Chat GPT. DA with circumflex y la phn 4 car kchbn video. Part 4. The Path to Inner Peace, Finding Stillness in a Chaotic World. We've spoken about mindfulness and compassion. And now let's explore another key aspect of Buddhist practice, the path to inner peace. In a world full of distractions, demands, and endless noise, finding peace within ourselves can seem like an impossible task. But in Buddhism, the way to peace isn't through external circumstances, it's through cultivating stillness within our own hearts and minds. The Buddha's teachings guide us to recognize that true peace isn't found in the external world, it is found within. The chaos and turbulence of life will always exist, but we have the power to choose how we respond. Through mindfulness, we can observe our thoughts and emotions without being overwhelmed by them. Through compassion, we can soften our hearts and find deeper connections with others. But true peace, according to Buddhism, is ultimately found through meditation and the practice of stillness. Meditation, or dhyana in Sanskrit, is the cornerstone of Buddhist practice. It is the direct path to inner peace, as it allows us to step away from the noise of the world and connect with our deepest self. Through meditation, we learn to calm the mind, letting go of our habitual thoughts and distractions, and simply being present in the moment. There are many forms of meditation in Buddhism, but one of the most common practices is zazen or seated meditation. In zazen, Practitioners sit in a comfortable yet alert posture, focusing on the breath. As we inhale and exhale, we bring our attention to the sensations of the breath entering and leaving the body. If our mind wanders, we gently guide it back to the breath, without judgment or frustration. The key is to develop a steady awareness of the present moment. Over time, this practice of mindfulness and stillness allows us to experience a profound sense of inner peace. It's a peace that isn't dependent on external conditions, but a peace that arises naturally when we cease to cling to the fleeting desires and attachments that cause suffering. In addition to formal meditation, Buddhism also encourages us to find moments of stillness throughout the day. Whether it's taking a few deep breaths while waiting in line, pausing to appreciate the beauty of nature, or simply being present with our loved ones, these moments of stillness help us cultivate a sense of inner calm in the midst of life's chaos. The Buddha's teachings emphasize that peace is not something we need to search for outside ourselves. It is something we already possess, hidden beneath layers of distraction and attachment. By practicing mindfulness, compassion, and meditation, we can uncover this inner peace and allow it to guide our thoughts, actions, and relationships. As you continue on your journey towards spiritual growth, remember that the path to peace is not a distant goal, it is a practice that begins right here, right now. By bringing awareness to the present moment, embracing compassion, and seeking stillness in the chaos of life, you will find that true peace is always available to you. Part 4. The Path to Inner Peace, Finding Stillness in a Chaotic World. We've spoken about mindfulness and compassion. And now let's explore another key aspect of Buddhist practice, the path to inner peace. In a world full of distractions, demands, and endless noise, finding peace within ourselves can seem like an impossible task. But in Buddhism, the way to peace isn't through external circumstances, it's through cultivating stillness within our own hearts and minds. The Buddha's teachings guide us to recognize that true peace isn't found in the external world, it is found within. The chaos and turbulence of life will always exist, but we have the power to choose how we respond. Through mindfulness, we can observe our thoughts and emotions without being overwhelmed by them. Through compassion, we can soften our hearts and find deeper connections with others. But true peace, according to Buddhism, is ultimately found through meditation and the practice of stillness. Meditation, or dhyana in Sanskrit, is the cornerstone of Buddhist practice. It is the direct path to inner peace, as it allows us to step away from the noise of the world and connect with our deepest self. Through meditation, we learn to calm the mind, letting go of our habitual thoughts and distractions, and simply being present in the moment. There are many forms of meditation in Buddhism, but one of the most common practices is zazen or seated meditation. In zazen, practitioners sit in a comfortable yet alert posture, focusing on the breath. As we inhale and exhale, we bring our attention to the sensations of the breath entering and leaving the body. If our mind wanders, we gently guide it back to the breath, without judgment or frustration. The key is to develop a steady awareness of the present moment. Over time, this practice of mindfulness and stillness allows us to experience a profound sense of inner peace. It's a peace that isn't dependent on external conditions, but a peace that arises naturally when we cease to cling to the fleeting desires and attachments that cause suffering. In addition to formal meditation, Buddhism also encourages us to find moments of stillness throughout the day. Whether it's taking a few deep breaths while waiting in line, pausing to appreciate the beauty of nature, or simply being present with our loved ones. These moments of stillness help us cultivate a sense of inner calm in the midst of life's chaos. The Buddha's teachings emphasize that peace is not something we need to search for outside ourselves. It is something we already possess, hidden beneath layers of distraction and attachment. By practicing mindfulness, compassion, and meditation, we can uncover this inner peace and allow it to guide our thoughts, actions, and relationships. As you continue on your journey towards spiritual growth, remember that the path to peace is not a distant goal, it is a practice that begins right here, right now. By bringing awareness to the present moment, embracing compassion, and seeking stillness in the chaos of life, you will find that true peace is always available to you. Part 5. Embracing impermanence, finding strength in change. One of the most profound teachings of the Buddha is the concept of impermanence, or anicca in Pali. This principle tells us that everything in life is in a constant state of change, nothing remains the same. Whether it's the circumstances around us or the emotions within us. By understanding and embracing this truth, we can find strength and resilience in the face of life's inevitable changes. In our modern world, we often struggle with the idea of change. We cling to things we love, whether it's relationships, possessions, or personal achievements, hoping that they will remain unchanged. However, this attachment leads to suffering. When things inevitably change, whether through loss, disappointment, or failure, we often feel a sense of grief and frustration. But the Buddha's teaching on impermanence offers a different perspective. He doesn't suggest that we should become detached or indifferent to life's experiences, rather, he encourages us to embrace change as a natural part of existence. By acknowledging the impermanent nature of all things, we can learn to let go of our attachment to them, and instead, appreciate them for what they are in the present moment. When we truly understand impermanence, we see that everything, both the good and the bad, is temporary. The joy of a beautiful experience or the sorrow of a painful loss will eventually pass. In this way, impermanence can help us cultivate resilience. When faced with hardship, we can remember that, like all things, this too shall pass. Likewise, when we experience joy, we can enjoy it fully, knowing that it is also fleeting. This understanding brings freedom. When we stop resisting change, we no longer fear it. We no longer fear the loss of a loved one, the passing of a season, or the shifting of circumstances. We can simply flow with life, embracing each moment as it comes. This doesn't mean we should be passive or indifferent, rather, it means we can meet life with an open heart, ready to engage fully with whatever comes our way. The wisdom of impermanence also teaches us to live more mindfully. When we realize that life is short, we are motivated to make the most of the present moment. Instead of putting off what's important or taking things for granted, we can prioritize what truly matters and live with greater intention. In doing so, we create a life that is richer, more meaningful, and more connected to our true purpose. To embrace impermanence is to accept that change is the only constant in life. But rather than seeing this as something to fear, we can see it as an opportunity for growth. It is through the changes we experience, whether joyful or sorrowful, that we have the chance to develop wisdom, compassion, and resilience. Each moment of change is an invitation to deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. By accepting the impermanence of life, we also learn to let go of our expectations, which is another way of reducing suffering. When we stop holding on so tightly to how we think things should be, we open ourselves up to the richness of what is. This allows us to find peace not in the pursuit of permanence, but in the acceptance of the ever-changing flow of life. Part 6. The Path of Compassion, Finding Fulfillment Through Service to Others. In Buddhism, one of the most profound practices is the cultivation of compassion, or karu. Compassion is the ability to empathize with the suffering of others and to act in ways that alleviate their pain. It is a cornerstone of the Buddhist path, and it can also be a powerful way for us to reconnect with the joy and meaning in our lives. We often get caught up in the pursuit of personal happiness, believing that fulfillment comes from material possessions, success, or status. Yet, true happiness is not found in accumulating wealth or achieving accolades. It is found in the selfless act of giving, in being of service to others. The more we care for the well-being of others, the more we cultivate our own happiness. In many ways, compassion is the antidote to the selfishness and ego-driven pursuits that cause suffering. When we focus solely on our own desires and needs, we often feel empty or unfulfilled. However, when we extend our hearts to others, we experience a profound sense of connection and joy that transcends the fleeting pleasures of worldly possessions. The Buddha taught that by practicing compassion, we not only help others but also transform ourselves. Compassion opens our hearts, allowing us to break down the barriers of selfishness and isolation that keep us trapped in a cycle of suffering. When we truly care for others, we create a ripple effect of positivity that benefits not only them but also ourselves. One of the most powerful ways to practice compassion is through loving-kindness meditation, or Met-Bhavan. In this practice, we generate feelings of love and kindness toward ourselves and others, extending our goodwill to all beings, human and non-human alike. This practice fosters a sense of interconnectedness and reminds us that we are not separate from others, but part of a vast web of life. Through the cultivation of compassion, we also develop patience and understanding. We learn to see the world through others' eyes and to recognize the common struggles and challenges we all face. This understanding brings about a deep sense of humility, as we realize that we are all interconnected and that no one is exempt from suffering. Living with compassion means acting with kindness in our everyday lives. It means showing up for others, offering a helping hand, or simply listening with an open heart. It also means recognizing when others are suffering and offering words of encouragement or a simple gesture of care. Compassion is not just an emotion, it is an active practice, a way of being in the world. By practicing compassion, we also learn to let go of our judgments and criticisms of others. We learn to accept people as they are, with all their flaws and imperfections. This acceptance leads to greater peace, both within ourselves and in our relationships with others. In a world that often seems divided by differences, compassion serves as a bridge that connects us. It reminds us that we are all part of the same human family, sharing the same desires for happiness and freedom from suffering. When we extend compassion, we create a world where kindness, empathy, and mutual respect can flourish. Ultimately, the path of compassion leads to the realization that true fulfillment is not found in personal achievement, but in the act of giving ourselves to others. Through compassion, we transcend the limitations of ego and find a deeper sense of joy, peace, and meaning in our lives. Part 7. Living a balanced life, embracing the middle path. In Buddhism, the concept of the middle path is central to the teachings of the Buddha. This path advocates for a life of balance, avoiding extremes of self-indulgence and self-mortification. It is a way of living that emphasizes moderation, mindfulness, and the cultivation of wisdom, ethics, and mental discipline. When we live a balanced life, we are better able to navigate the challenges of daily existence. We no longer feel overwhelmed by desires, worries, or frustrations. Instead, we approach life with a sense of equanimity, understanding that all experiences, whether pleasant or unpleasant, are impermanent and part of the natural flow of life. The Buddha taught that by cultivating the middle path, we free ourselves from the suffering caused by attachment and aversion. Instead of clinging to fleeting pleasures or resisting discomfort, we learn to embrace life as it comes, with mindfulness and acceptance. This does not mean passivity or resignation, rather, it means engaging with life fully, with wisdom and compassion, without being ruled by our desires or fears. Living a balanced life also involves nurturing our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. It is about finding harmony between work and rest, between action and reflection. When we are mindful of our needs and take care of ourselves, we are better equipped to show up for others and live a life of service and compassion. The practice of mindfulness is key to walking the middle path. Mindfulness allows us to stay present in each moment, fully engaged with what is happening now, without being distracted by past regrets or future anxieties. Through mindfulness, we gain clarity and insight, allowing us to make wiser choices and respond to life's challenges with a calm and centered mind. As we continue along the middle path, we gradually come to understand that true happiness does not lie in external achievements or material possessions. Instead, it arises from within, a deep sense of contentment and peace that comes from living in alignment with our highest values and aspirations. Call to action: subscribe and join the journey to Buddhist wisdom. If you've found this exploration of Buddhist teachings helpful, inspiring, or thought-provoking, I invite you to join our growing community by subscribing to the Path to Buddhist Wisdom. Here, we delve into timeless wisdom, spiritual practices, and insights that help us live more mindful, peaceful, and fulfilling lives. Whether you're new to Buddhism or already on your path, our videos provide a space for reflection, learning, and personal growth. Don't miss out on new content designed to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Click that subscribe button and join us as we explore the path of Buddhist wisdom together. May you walk the path of peace, love, and wisdom.